When you think of the Bioshock series, I'm sure a lot of different images and a lot of different characters go through your head. You might be thinking Andrew Ryan, Frank Fontaine, Jack, Elizabeth, Rapture. You get the gist. Well, what I think is essentially the poster child for the entirety of Bioshock 1 and Bioshock 2. That being the Big Daddy and the Little Sister. Today, I'm going to try to do my best to keep this short, sweet, and to the point. This is going to be a lore video based on all 5 models of the Big Daddies that you can find within Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2, and even in Infinite Burial at Sea Episode 1 and Episode 2. Again, this is going to be short, sweet, and to the point. So with that being said, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the Big Daddy models explained. So first up, we're going to have the Alpha Series. So the Alpha Series model of Big Daddies were essentially the first successful Big Daddy type to bond with the Little Sisters and protect them while they gather at them. Unlike most other Big Daddy types, the Alpha Series Big Daddies are extremely aggressive towards whoever came near them or their little sister. The Alpha Series model was perfected by Dr. Gilbert Alexander, who obviously continued the work from Dr. Suchong. There was, however, one huge flaw with these Big Daddies. They were essentially psychologically bonded to their respective little sister, which, if they drifted apart, would cause major complications. For example, the Alpha Series could experience one of many things that, well, could lead to death, or falling into a coma, or becoming increasingly insane and spiraling into madness if they were separated from their little sister for prolonged periods of time. This would explain the majority of the Alpha Series Big Daddies that you can come across during your playthrough of Bioshock 2. In terms of their overall makeup, keep in mind that this was the first model of Big Daddy that was successful, so their armor isn't the greatest. Essentially, killing an Alpha Series Big Daddy is relatively easy with the right weapons, such as a rivet gun or a spear gun, for example. So, if you happen to come across an Alpha Series, which you will during your playthrough, make sure to use one of those 2 weapons or a weapon that you're comfortable with, and aim for the head, because it will do an incredible amount of damage due to the lack of protective armor. Next up, we have the Bouncers. The Bouncer Big Daddies are specialized for close quarter fights, with a drill being their weapon by design. If you're going to take on one of the Bouncers, I'd personally recommend keeping your distance and using weapons like a shotgun with exploding buck or the chemical thrower with electric gel. Both are incredibly good options that should take care of them rather quickly. Again though, use something that you feel the most comfortable with, especially on the higher difficulties. Now, there's 2 different types of bouncers that you can encounter during your playthrough of Bioshock, those being the regular bouncer models and elite bouncers, which trades the drill for a harpoon. The elite bouncers will be a little bit more difficult to deal with, but I'd still recommend keeping your distance. I'm going to mention this fact now because this shares a characteristic with a lot of the Big Daddies moving forward, and that is a red light, yellow light, and green light system. So this is going to include bouncers, lancers, rumblers, you get the gist. So essentially there's a visual representation that will showcase how aggressive or passive each model will be. For example, if the showcase of light is green from their helmet, they're not a threat whatsoever as long as you keep your distance. They'll remain completely passive and continue to do their job and protect their little sister while being passive towards you, the player. If a yellow light is shining from the helmet, this indicates that they're aware of your presence and you're getting a little bit too close for comfort. They still won't attack you, but it's essentially a warning to not come any closer. And then they'll remain in a neutral state, unless you get too close or happen to shoot at them, which will obviously lead to the red light being showcased. Once the red light blasts through the helmet, the fight is on. This causes either the bouncer Lancer, Rumbler, or whichever Big Daddy to become aggressive towards either the player or anyone that happens to be near them, and they'll attack right away. This is obviously to protect the little sister, as they're conditioned to do. Once the threat is eliminated, that red light will fade away and either go back to yellow or green. The biggest difference with bouncers is during Bioshock Infinite, and you'll notice this in episode 1, along with them protecting their little sisters, they also repair minor issues with Rapture, and they can shoot their drill like a grappling hook to get to one point to another or to pull their targets closer to them for an easier attack. Essentially, if I had to personally summarize them, I describe them as part-time maintenance workers for Rapture, especially in Burial at Sea, along with just protectors in general. And now we move on to my personal favorite Big Daddy model, that being the Lancer. It's mentioned in Minerva's Den by the Thinker that the Lancers are the most technically advanced model of Big Daddy, and their weapons and abilities seem to showcase that perfectly. Not only are they extremely tanky due to the lack of research that you can do on them, but they can blind you with a huge burst of light, which you can turn away from if you're quick enough. They carry around an ion laser, which emits a powerful stream of energy at their target, and, not to mention, they are incredibly strong. As mentioned earlier with the bouncers, the Lancers have 3 different modes that they can be set in. Obviously, the green light, yellow light, and red light system. If you guys want to go back and check it out, I'll put the timestamps for each individual thing down in the description so you can just click on them and it'll take you right to that part of the video. But here's the difference from their red light system. This turns them completely hostile, and you need to put them down before they can do some serious damage to you, because obviously, with them being the most technically advanced model of Big Daddy, they're going to be the strongest as well. So due to the lack of the ability to not research the Lancers and gain an advantage, a fight with them will prove to be difficult, especially if you decide to play Minerva's Den on the harder difficulties. You can expect one hell of a fight. In terms of weapons that I'd personally recommend, I would use the ion laser as it provides constant damage, and you have 3 different types of ammo that you can use with it. Also, if you want to combine plasmids with it, you can use a plasmid like Electrobolt to stun them while continuously shooting them. You can use Incinerate to increase the damage over time while shooting them, and you can also use Gravity Well to essentially stun them in place as you continue to do damage. Their role in Minerva's Den, obviously, is to guard their little sisters with their incredibly advanced technology, as well as roam around the Thinker along with their little sisters, essentially acting as almost a bodyguard type figure to the Thinker as well, as long as their little sister is there. Again, as I mentioned, they are the most technologically and technically advanced Big Daddy, so if you come in contact with them, be careful and get ready for one hell of a fight. Now we move on to the Rosie model. This one has a lot of unique functions, and I actually appreciate that a lot. So, the Rosie model of Big Daddy, as I stated earlier, has multiple functions. Obviously, their first priority is to protect their little sisters. But on top of that, they essentially act as maintenance workers and mechanics to help fix main issues in Rapture, like leaks, and I absolutely love that. I wish it would have been incorporated more into the game. It just would have made so much more sense. Anyways, I digress. So, obviously, they're extremely versatile with their functions in Rapture. Rosies are going to be your long-range attackers with a long rivet gun as their weapon of choice. Thankfully, due to their size, they're going to be extremely slow, but you'll still have to watch out for that rivet gun that I mentioned because it's definitely going to pack a punch if it hits you. Also, like the bouncer models, there's different versions of the Rosies as well, that being the regular Rosie model and the elite Rosie model, which has increased health, and if I remember correctly, I believe it's increased by 40 to 50%. So be careful when fighting them. As previously mentioned with the other previous Big Daddies, they have the green, yellow, and red light system to indicate their aggressiveness, or their passiveness. So if you want to hear about it again, as I mentioned, timestamps will be down in the description. Keep in mind that while fighting a Rosie, especially an elite Rosie, they're going to be extremely tanky, which will require a lot of ammo to take one out. Along with that, they're incredibly accurate with that rivet gun, and as I mentioned, it's going to hit you like a truck if they indeed hit you. So constantly be on the move if you're going to fight them. My recommendation while fighting a Rosie is to use your machine gun or pistol or any sort of weapon that has armor-piercing rounds to make sure you're doing the max amount of damage possible, and use plasmids that will do damage over time, whether that's insect swarm, incinerate, whatever is going to help you do the most amount of damage possible. And especially telekinesis, if there's explosive barrels around, be sure to pick them up and throw them at the Big Daddy. Another weapon that you can use as well, and that works extremely well for any sort of Big Daddy, is the chemical thrower, and use the electric gel. If you upgrade that thing does work against all Big Daddies. Trust me on that one. Just try it out and you'll see how well it actually works on Big Daddies. And finally, we're going to end with the final Big Daddy model, that being the Rumbler. These Big Daddies were created for combat situations due to them having that massive grenade launcher essentially mounted to their shoulder at all times. The Rumblers came to be due to the demand that was put on Gil Alexander to save more little sisters. Obviously, as the Splicers of Rapture became more and more strong over time and attacked other Big Daddies, killing them, thus obtaining the little sisters and all of the Atom that they had, Gil had to come up with a Big Daddy that had the firepower to take out crowds of Splicers and to protect the little sisters. Thus, the Rumbler was born. Due to the fact that the Rumblers carry these heavy grenade launchers, a lot of armor had to be stripped away to compensate for the overall weight of the Big Daddy. Even though Rumblers were made for said combat situations, weapons that use armor piercing or even anti-personnel ammo cause a ton of damage to them. So I'd personally recommend using any weapons with these ammo types. Obviously, just make sure you have enough ammo for the fight. On top of them having the mentioned grenade launcher, they could also throw down mini turrets, which would cause a problem for you if you weren't paying attention while fighting them. Although it doesn't seem like they would do a lot of damage, those things will tear you apart if you are not paying attention, and I believe they can throw down 2 at a time. You can hack them if you're quick enough, but you will take a lot of damage if you don't shoot them or destroy them in an appropriate amount of time. Like earlier models, as I mentioned, they also operate with the green, yellow, and red light systems, so I don't think I have to mention it here again. I'm pretty sure you're tired of hearing about it. So in conclusion, when fighting any model of Big Daddy, always make sure you have enough ammo, always make sure you have enough health, and always make sure you have enough Eve to make the fight as even as you possibly can for yourself, especially on the more difficult levels. With that being said, let me know your favorite Big Daddy model down in the comment section below and tell me why they're your favorite. I would really appreciate that. So ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you enjoyed this video. This one was a little bit different because I wanted to incorporate a lore style video, but I wanted to make it as short and sweet and to the point as I possibly can. I didn't want to extend anything past a certain time limit or anything like that. I wanted to give you guys the best overall synopsis of each Big Daddy model that I could possibly give you. Whether it's their strengths, their weaknesses, their functionalities, why they were made, what they do best, etc. So if you want to see more videos like this in the future, let me know down in the comment section below. I'll have no problem doing videos like this. If you're new and enjoyed the video, would you kindly consider leaving a like, subscribing to never miss a future video or live stream, And be sure to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss a future video or live stream when it goes public. If you want to follow me on any of my social medias or join my Discord server, the links will be provided in the description below. And also, you should definitely check out a couple of the videos that are going to be popping up on the screen now. With that being said, thank you all so very much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and I will talk to you all in the next video.